Imagine that you've been saving for your dream home or condo for many years. You finally have that down payment that you think is going to really work for you. And then you find out the prices just keep increasing and increasing. Imagine that you're a new immigrant to Canada and you come here thinking that you can buy a new home. And then you find out you have to wait about 4 years before you can avoid paying up to $500,000 extra in fees and taxes. In the last number of years, about the last 10 years, development charges in the city of Toronto have increased by over 600%. And believe it or not, I'm going to show you that the city approved an increase of another 42% in 2023. Also, we have land transfer taxes, which have doubled in the last number of years. You have to pay a double land transfer tax in the city. And on top of that, if you are a non-resident or somebody who's a newer immigrant and has not qualified to be a resident yet, you're paying an extra $500,000 in taxes and fees on $1 million condo. So my clients ask me, why are prices so expensive in Toronto? I have to tell them it's not just the market. It's a lot to do with policy, government procedures, delays, and all kinds of things. Today, we're going to talk about the number seven reasons why prices are so high in the city of Toronto and give you some idea about what you can do with them. My name is Marcy Verburg, and I'm here to help you decipher your real estate needs and figure out how to buy properties in the Toronto area. So, one of the first reasons that our homes are so expensive is development fees. I'm going to show you just quickly a couple of areas where you can see these really going up. If you look at the following charts, you are going to see a massive increase of almost 600% in development charges in the last 10 years. Now, a lot of these are applying to single family homes and also to condos. So the increase in development fees in a single family home in the Toronto area is almost 600%. A condo is about 20% overall. If you take a look at a one-bedroom condo, the increase in development fees is around 42%. And if you look at homes outside of the GTA, you're looking at about an increase of 172%. Now, why do you care? Well, you care because all of these fees and taxes are passed along to you as the buyer, making your home way more expensive. Now, another really big thing is delays. We know that for each month your home is delayed in being built, it costs an extra $3,000 to $6,000 a month. So that's between $36,000 and $72,000 a year. Now, those delays are caused by governments. They're caused by zoning problems. They're caused by delays in permits. They're caused by government red tape. We have something like over 400 different zoning bylaws in this province that are really causing us all kinds of problems. And the governments are just not getting on top of those and figuring out the red tape in those areas. But for you, you care because those costs get passed on to you. So go back to that original, down payment you've been saving for a long time. So say maybe you have $100,000. Just imagine how fast that is getting eaten up by silly things like delays and charges put onto you by the government. Now, another reason that homes are so expensive is because of the non-residence sales tax. Now, that was put into place to kind of give us some more vacancy within the condo market, which may have made sense at the end of, the pandemic. But what we've actually seen hands down in the market, and this is where governments actually don't really understand what's going on, is there is this massive availability of condos right now. Governments are going towards building more and more homes, and I'm not saying they shouldn't do that, but we are not able to sell these smaller condos. Now, a lot of the condos, as you know, were built as shoebox condos in the city of Toronto. We pulled off the Airbnb availability. We took out foreign buyers, we took out foreign students, and then we added this non-residence tax. All of those things have resulted in those small condos not being able to sell. It's not the prices are starting to come down on those condos, but the bigger issue is just the fact that people still can't afford them because they cost so much to build in the first place. So nobody, especially people who live in Toronto already, who are Canadians drawing a Canadian salary, they can't afford to buy these. Now, if you are a non-resident, I'm going to show you a chart that is just astounding at how much extra money you have to pay to buy a condo. So take this $1 million condo for you, it's going to cost you an extra $500,000 in taxes and fees to buy that property. Now, if you are a Canadian resident, you're paying about $219,000 in taxes and fees for your $1 million condo in the city of Toronto. So just imagine you go from $800,000 to $1,019,000 just in government added red tape, taxes, and fees. Now, you all know that there's a couple of other issues that are very basic we've been talking about forever. One of those, of course, is interest rates, and that, the consistent interest rate increase that happened after the pandemic has caused expenses to go way up for people. I think the bigger problem there is actually something called the stress test. Now, the stress test is something the government put into place in 2018. And what that means is that you have to be able to qualify for a rate that's 2% higher than the rate you're actually going to be able to get. Now, during the pandemic, when our rates are, 0.5% or 1%, that probably made a lot of sense. Now, when we have interest rates in the last couple of years that were as high as like 6, 7%, and then you have to add an extra 2% on top of that, that's knocking people out. So people with a stable income, a good income, a double income in the Toronto area, they get priced out because they can't afford to buy a home when they have to qualify for an 8% mortgage. You're probably wondering, is this going to get any better? Well, the problem is it's not going to get any better right now because we've got a massive glut of condos sitting in the market, as we've talked about in the Toronto area. Now, a study just came out from Build and Altus, and they were showing us that we are into some huge problems. And what we're expecting the next while is a massive layoff in the construction industry. So, around 44,000, 45,000 jobs. Those jobs are crucial to this Toronto economy. But because the builders cannot sell for enough money to get their costs back, they're stopping their projects. Some of them are stopping mid, some of them are stopping partway through, some of them are turning into rentals, which, could be good for a lot of people. However, the builders, some of the really big ones will be okay. They're just going to sit and they're going to wait on their projects and not do anything. However, they are going to lay off a lot of their staff. The smaller kind of new guys, they're going to be in big trouble. Anybody who bought on an assignment basis and never intended to close, as you know, those ones are in trouble too. So these things are all kind of adding up to the costs. Now, the government's saying, well, these things will eventually lower the prices, and they probably will, but should we really be unhousing a lot of people, bankrupting people, and kind of lowering things in order to lower the prices for everybody? I don't know about that. So right now, the prices are remaining high. I feel so much for everybody who's trying to buy a new home, trying to come up with a strategy. If you want to stay in Toronto, it's just so difficult right now. I think we really need to figure out a way to get these costs under control, especially with the government. It's going to take you back to this one little thing one time again. I read this about 10 times because it just isn't making any sense to me. This is right off the City of Toronto website, basically, saying we're increasing development charges by 42% with the objective of increasing costs because we think that, I'm quoting them, we think that that's going to increase development and help the developers. I don't get that, and I still can't get my head around it. But that's the kind of politics that you're seeing happening. You've seen these build home policies, which hopefully we get more homes, but I don't know. So what can you do about this? Well, this is a really tough one right now. There are strategies to get in. You can buy a smaller condo. We are starting to see the shoebox condos going for a lot less if you can get into one of those, but we really have to talk about that strategy and whether it makes sense for you. There are some great areas to buy in. If you have any questions and you're stuck and you just can't figure out what to do, please reach out to me or one of your specialists, and we would love to help you.